All right, well then we'll get into the league news here. So the first thing is, although we did ban Dame trade talk, we mostly banned that due to the fact that there was nothing actually interesting or new coming out, just a lot of random BS. But this week, there's been some actual real news coming out of actual sources like Woj and Shams. So there's been new teams interested in just making an all-out trade for Dame, not getting involved in a 3 or 4. So the Chicago Bulls and Toronto Raptors have been officially reported as teams that are actually interested in acquiring Damian Lillard himself, not acquiring any extra assets or sending picks for assets in a trade to facilitate a Dame trade to Miami. And it also reported that these teams are not interested in working with Miami in a 3 or 4 team trade as well. So I don't know if obviously, Matthias, you guys probably have some thoughts about these different locations and some of the stuff that you guys might be able to acquire in terms of assets wise. So I'll leave it up to you to talk about that for a little bit.
I'll start off with, I think, the most obvious thing. And if Toronto puts Scotty Barnes on the board at all, even if it takes away picks, I think you take it. I think Scotty Barnes he's the best thing you'll get, and I don't think you want to bet on getting a talent like Scotty Barnes in the draft because drafting is hard.
Yeah.
And Portland is a small market that is going to have to rely on drafting, and why not get a rookie of the year? Great two-way player, two-way forward that we've never had. Like we've never had a player like Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, especially with the clear hole at the 4 and 5 positions. And a team that's going to be relying a lot on ball movement with a lot of young guards. And I think adding a guy like Scotty Barnes, if possible, would be like A+ knock out of the park in regards to that type of thing. So I would agree there. So what about the Ryan? How do you feel about Toronto?
About Toronto, I just don't know. I don't really like it for Toronto. I mean, it depends on what they're giving up. Like if they, it's just tough with them because we talked about it for a super long time last podcast, how they are just like directionless. And I almost think that trading for Dame right now wouldn't really do them much good. I think they're let's say it was a Scotty Barnes for Dame swap, maybe a few more pieces go out the door, whatever.
So like starting filler and picks.
A starting lineup of Damian Lillard, Gary Trent, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Jakob Poeltl is a really, really good starting 5. Like I'm gonna be honest, that's a great starting 5.
Best roster Dame has ever played in.
It would be, and I think that team could beat a Milwaukee or a Boston, Cleveland, you name it, in a playoff series. Like that's so realistic for them. That team could win the finals. I don't know. That's a really good team, but that core is sustainable for maybe 1, maybe 2 seasons, if you ask me. And I mean, Masai Ujiri has shown that he's willing to do that. Like with the Kawhi thing, let's take a gamble. Maybe we'll win the championship. They did in that case. No guarantees they'll win it now. I think that Toronto, like we've all talked about this, Toronto just really needs to commit to the reset and to just rebuild. And I think that trading for Dame would only complicate that even more because then even more of your young foundation is out the door, or really your only young foundational piece is out the door in that situation. Yeah. And it becomes even harder to dig themselves out of that hole that they're already in. So Toronto, I don't know. Like a report came out a few days ago saying that there was a surprise Eastern Conference team. It was Toronto. I don't love it for them, but the Bulls gets a bit more interesting. Yeah. If you ask me, because with the Bulls, like, I am intrigued as to what that package could possibly look like going out the door from Chicago.
It is nice though that they do have all of their they control all of their picks for the future now. Vooch trade is officially wrapped up, so there's no limitations on swaps and future firsts anymore. So, which even then it was only people thought that felt like that was much more drawn out. Even me, I feel like it was much more drawn out than it actually was. It was only two picks. Like
those picks,
but it was good picks though. Like I'm not saying they weren't.
Wagner's a good player.
Yeah, which they wouldn't have drafted Franz.
They would have gotten who?
I don't even remember the draft class.
I don't know. I don't
Was
remember
that
no,
they
it
could have
was
got Tyrese. Isn't that Tyrese's draft class?
no,
That's
that's Tyrese is
yeah,
the year
20
before, I'm pretty sure.
yeah. No, Franz and then Matthias is looking,
No,
but
I think you're wrong.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure.
All right,
I'm
sorry,
not.
I'm having audio problems.
No, you're good.
Okay,
You're good.
we're all good. We're all good.
My headphones just messed up. I didn't know if you guys were saying anything.
Let me look that up. Let me look it up. But either way, regardless of that, I'm gonna look this up while we continue to talk about that. It seems like it would be facilitated through a third team with Zach LaVine. I guess that's the asset that they want to give up.
I guess.
I don't know why he's the best player on the team. If you're gonna pair any two of them, find another team that wants to take on DeRozan. Like, I would much rather give up DeRozan and a young piece than Zach LaVine and a young piece and picks.
Yeah.
Because Zach LaVine's better and he's younger. Like,
Yeah,
it's not like DeRozan's the one that's 27 and LaVine's better than him, but he's 33 and he might decline in a year or two. Like, LaVine's going to be better for longer and he's better now. So, like, what is the point of getting rid of him?
Yeah, that's why I think the Raptors actually have like a better offer that's more realistic for both Dame and the Blazers, because the Bulls, they have Patrick Williams, Kobe White, and then, like you said, either DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine, really. And if you get rid of DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine with Patrick Williams and or Kobe White, your team's kind of gutted. Like, they're going to be better than the Blazers. They're going to be a playoff team, and like maybe they'll have a Eastern Conference Finals run like the Hawks or something. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to pick them to come out as a favorite. Versus Toronto, I think they have a piece in Scotty where they can give it up and not have to gut their team at all.
Yeah.
Also, quickly, I was incorrect. That was not his draft class, because I'm stupid, because he got extended this year, so it was the year before. That was like Davion Mitchell was like the next guard that got like drafted or whatever.
Yeah, but the Bulls would have picked him for sure.
Or definitely, or like Josh Primo.
Yeah,
or
I don't know if you guys talked about it, but the Bulls do have protections over the Blazers picks.
Yeah,
they have their picks. So
what trade was that?
Robert Covington, I believe. It was either Robert Covington or Derek Jones or Larry Nance. One of those role forwards we overpaid for.
Yeah. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah, I think both of these teams. I want to say one thing about what you said about Toronto with them being directionless, and this just continues that cycle. I think it does the opposite personally. I think it ends that cycle, because you commit to having, because the reason that we call them directionless now is because they currently have an all-star top 25-ish player, somewhere around that range, in Pascal Siakam. They have a younger guy that a lot of people really like, a very, very good defender, OG Anunoby. They made a trade for Jakob Poeltl, who's a good defensive center who has some ability on the offensive end as well as a two-way guy. But the problem comes when you have a guy like Scotty Barnes, who needs the ball in his hands, isn't a strong shooter, and you're trying to develop him next to a guy. You're moving him out of position. You're asking him to do things that he's not comfortable with. And then you're drafting and bringing in free agents that are also doing the opposite of developing your young guys. But I think if you commit to, we're going to trade for a top 10 player in the league, we're going to give up our best young asset, we're going to give up 2 to 3 first round picks, because the thing is, a team only has to have they don't have to have that many picks, because the most amount of picks they're going to get is 3. Like, that's if they trade him to his desired destination in Miami, they're going to get 3 picks and like a swap or 2. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but the most they can get is 3 firsts. It's really like, if a team gives you 3 firsts and and a better young player or two better players, it's like that deal automatically beats it. And I think, like you said, that Toronto team, Masai, we've talked about Masai. He's a guy that wants to win. He doesn't want to be bad.
Yeah.
It's why they keep committing assets to being play-in or low playoff teams. And this was a team that just 2 years ago took the Philadelphia 76ers to 7 games with a significantly worse roster. So I think if Toronto were to pull a trade, I really don't think Dame would want to go there. Obviously, clearly he wants to be in Miami, like obviously, but I like the roster for them. I think it would catapult them much higher in the power rankings of teams, especially in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And overall in the league, I think it would really look like it would be a home run, honestly. I just really don't think that there's a point because I don't think he wants to be there.
Well, I guess for me, it's like, yeah, they'd get a lot better. Like I said, I think they could win the final if they make that trade.
Yeah.
But like the way I think about it is even thinking like 2 or 3 years out, like what do you do when Dame is 36 and Pascal got paid and they don't have a ton of picks left and no young players? Well, now it's like they're already a little bit screwed right now. I just think about how screwed they could be in like 2 or 3 years if they were to make that trade. Like, I think, I don't know. I just think it would be too, I don't know about reckless, but it would just be too reckless if they were to do.
I think it's definitely aggressive.
It would be so aggressive.
It's a very aggressive move, but I'm honestly someone in my personal philosophy around team building. If you're not being as aggressive as possible, you're not being a good GM. And I think putting it all on the line to be a contending level team, even because most teams windows, unless you have a top 10 player of all time paired with another superstar at the time, your contending window is 2 to 3 years most of the time. You have a top 10-ish player, sometimes a top 5-ish player opens up that window a little bit. But like a true, like we can win the finals, like our best player is in his prime type of thing, is usually like a 2 to 3 year window.
Yeah.
So I think if you can minimize the length of picks that you have to give out, I think if you could front load some of the firsts, they don't have their pick next year, so it would have to go swap, pick, swap. So it would be a little bit, it would be risky. But I think if you could do 2 picks, 2 swaps, Scotty Barnes, and 1 other piece, I think that's significantly better than any other offer that the Blazers are going to
get.
Yeah. From the Blazers,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I think from the Blazers side, like if Scotty Barnes is on the table as like a legit offer, like you got to take that immediately.
Instantly, yeah. And I think it comes down to fit. Because I wanted to add on to what you said earlier, Jeff, about what we were talking about the Raptors last episode, I believe. We brought up Gary Trent about how he doesn't fit because he needs to be next to a playmaker next to a great player on a good team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we talked
about
how
Gary Trent was on the Blazers and he was good. They gave him away for nothing.
So I actually think like making these trades, the Blazers have to make the decision to go young. And looking at the Raptors, their young pieces are Scotty and Dick, right? That's about it.
That's it.
I think there's a way they trade Scotty and keep Grady 100%. And with the market right now, I think there's a way that they're like, hey, we're giving you Scotty fucking Barnes. You're going to do 1 swap and 1 pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're going to, and it's like, that's the best offer you're going to get. If I'm the Blazers, I'm taking that. Like, because picks are all hypothetical.
2 picks, 2 swaps, and Scotty Barnes is better than 3 picks, a swap, and Jovic. By far, it clears 100%. It's so much better.
I would take less picks, even less than 2 and 2. If we got
I mean, I don't think the Blazers organization would, but I see what your thought process is.
Picks are so hypothetical.
Yeah, and I think you have realistically you have your own pick. Your own pick is going to be the most valuable thing, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously getting extra firsts. But I think you could get picks. I mean, getting picks is not hard. I mean, it is, but it isn't at the same time. I mean,
especially with
there's a lot of
new
talent.
CBA.
I mean, at some point too, guess what? In 1 year, at the end of next season, even though we all love this guy, Anthony Simons is a guy. They have 2 guards on the roster right now. Trade him, you're getting 2 to 3 firsts.
No.
You can't run from
We're not going to bring that up yet. Okay?
No, like I
we're
don't
not
want
going to
him
bring
to.
that up
I
yet.
don't
I have
want
to
him.
cope with Damian Lillard first.
I don't want them to trade him, but I'm just saying like they have 2 more guards or Shaedon Sharpe. Like either one of those guys. Like I'm just saying like if you commit to the 2 of your guards or whatever, it's like one of those guys could get you a pick or 2.
I agree. We're probably gonna have to trade unless Shaedon shows that he can play the 3, because Ant can play the backup 1, and if Shaedon can play the starting 3 and play backup 2 minutes, I think we can keep all of them. But if he can't,
I would love for them to all be on the team. I think all those guys can be really good. Shaedon, I think
it's just size.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say though, Shaedon? What?
I think Shaedon's just a fun player. I don't think he'll have like ever be like a really, really good player. I think he could be a good player and a fun player, like a bench scoring, one of those catch fire type of guys that can do some other good stuff for you. I think he has a lot of potential defensively. He's athletic as hell, obviously. So
but then like until Shaedon shows us that he can do what Anthony does, it's like I think Shaedon's on the chopping block first.
Yeah, I mean it's only his 2nd year, so you can't really say that too much.
No, but the thing is, when you have to make a decision, you don't want to always decide on potential because Anthony's still 24 and all that.
I think Anthony has higher potential and he's better now. So I would pick, if you had to pick one,